When describing the monuments, we'll be indicating their position on the right or on the left bank of the river. The left bank is more hilly and green with gardens and public parks. The right bank will be, all the time you are on board, lower and flat, but full of big buildings. If you look at the water's surface, you can see the current of the river. During the first part of our cruise, the boat will be moving upstream, and after passing under the Charles Bridge, we will turn and sail downstream. Our cruise will finish at the same pier where we are starting now, i.e. again at the right bank. Over our pier, there is a large structure with a big green dome and the national flag. This is the Trade and Industry Ministry of the Czech Republic.
Hagyok.
Prague is the capital of the Czech Republic and the country's largest city. It has a population of 1.3 million and is spread across an area of 500 square kilometers. Prague, for its visitors, is an open textbook of architecture. Because Prague avoided systematic bombing during the Second World War, the historical core of the city has been preserved in its original appearance, a result of 1,000 years of development. As such, it is on the UNESCO list as a World Heritage Site. The historical core of the city extends across both banks of the Vltava River and comprises of 4 quarters: Old Town, Staré Město, established in the 14th century; New Town, Nové Město; Lesser Town, Malá Strana; and Brančany, the Castle Town. Most monuments, museums, and galleries can be found here. Thanks to its location at the core of Central Europe, Prague played an important role in the Middle Ages. At that time, it was the 3rd largest city after Constantinople and Rome, and was located at the crossroads of important trade routes from Asia to Western Europe, and from Northern Europe down to the Mediterranean. Its heyday was during the reign of Charles IV, who was not only the King of Bohemia, but also the Holy Roman Emperor. He founded Prague University, now bearing his name, which is the oldest scientist. The bridge in front of us bears the name of Svatopluk Czech, a Czech poet of the 19th century. This is the shortest and most ornate Art Nouveau style bridge, not only in Prague, but in the entire Czech Republic. Thanks to the rich ornamentation and the materials used to build the bridge, it is a protected technical monument. Adorning the bridge are steel lanterns, bronze statues of torchbearers, granite festoons, and six-headed bronze hydras guarding the crests of Prague. Next to the bridge, on the right bank, are the Intercontinental Hotel and the Faculty of Law of the Charles University. Longer green hill on the left bank is called Vltava, or Summer Hill in English, and on its top, between the trees, you can see a small structure resembling a chapel. It is not a church, but a small and exclusive garden restaurant called Kanavsky Pavilion. Nearby, over Chekhoff Bridge and the trees, you can see the protruding red needle of Prague metronome, a kind of time machine. It is a pendulum, and unfortunately is not always moving. In the same place, only a short time after World War II, a large monument to Stalin was built there. It was one of the largest sculptures in Europe at the time. It was torn down in 1962 during the Khrushchev era of de-Stalinization. Below, closer to the riverbank, there is a low one-story building with rows of windows and shutters. It used to be a natural public swimming school, but now serves as a restaurant.
Se on mullakin ollut varmaan koko ajan, koska...
Tää oli, ei siellä pois. Se huomasi tuolla. Aika lailla
Onko se aktiivinen vai myös?
Varmaan. Saatan värit, tai tuolla ei se hyvin.
Se on aika hankala.
Joo. Annelas liikkuvassa vetää.
Miksi periaatteessa tässä liikkuvassa voisi olla se aktiivinen, koska tähän etäisyys muuttuu koko ajan?
Niin.
En mä tiedä.
We are approaching Monosuk Bridge, built in the place of the former iron footbridge. Today's structure was started during the First World War and bears the name of the important Czech painter Josef Hans. His statue can be found at the foot of the bridge. The bridge serves automobiles and trams and is also heavily used by pedestrians. Prague Castle, towering above the left bank, is today the seat of the head of state and an important cultural and historical monument. The crown jewels, remains of Czech kings, rare Christian relics, artistic treasures, and historical documents are all stored in the Prague Castle. Its architectural form is the result of the work of not only medieval architects, but also of contemporary ones. A protected section of the Prague Castle houses the President's office, and thus is not generally admissible for the public. However, a large part of the Prague Castle is set aside for museums, exhibition rooms, and thus is open to everyday visitors. In addition to museums and galleries, it is also possible to visit the Old Royal Palace, St. George's Basilica, some parts of the old fortification system, the enchanting Golden Lane, and of course, the majestic St. Vitus Cathedral. The grounds of the castle complex resemble a small town, surrounded by gardens in the middle of a metropolis. As you may have heard, it is the largest castle complex in the world. It spreads over an area of 45 hectares and, as such, is listed in the Guinness Book of Records.
Altstädter Ring und Konventionsplatz. Ja, genau. 30 Statuen, alle kopiert. Prag war vor 14 Jahren überschwemmt. Mittlerweile sind die hohes Wasser war. Spur. Oben unten ist weiß, oben ist schwarz. Weil 3 Wochen lang hat abgewaschen. Dieses Prager Benehmen, schauen Sie, sind kleine Menschen, Sie werden das sehen, das ein das ist dieser Mann aus einer Kleinstadt. Vielleicht dann, wenn Sie Zeit und Wunsch haben, danach sehen. Ich kann Ihnen erzählen, weil wissen Sie, dass man braucht Zeit. Spazieren sehr schön. Ja.
Charles Bridge, originally called the Stone Bridge or Frog Bridge, was started at the behest of King Charles IV. Construction began in 1357, supervised by Peter Parler, and was completed in the early 15th century. Peter Parler had the Old Town Bridge Tower built above the first pillar on the Old Town side. This bridge tower is considered one of the most beautiful Gothic gates. The bridge is 520 meters long, 10 meters wide, and rests on 16 arches. Adorning the bridge is a unique set of 30 statues depicting Catholic saints in the Baroque style, created and added as decoration closely with the 17th. The bridge ends between Western Town Bridge Tower. The lower of them is the remainder of the old twin bridge, which was constructed in the same place in the second half of the 12th century and damaged by flooding. Since the 1960s, the Charles Bridge has been used only for pedestrians. On the southern side of the bridge, there are so-called icebreakers, wooden trunks with the function of protecting the bridge against possible ice hazards in the early spring or against blockage of the bridge arches at the time of flooding. In recent decades, floodings have been quite frequent in our country. the river. Here, at the southern side of Charles Bridge, we are now approaching one of the several dams on the river. There are more in Praha, and also outside the city, to slow down the current, raise the water level, and hereby make the Vltava navigable in the whole capital and 60 kilometers farther south. At each of these dams, there is a lock for boats to change elevation on the river. Here, the access to the lock is indicated by a line of yellow handles, which at night are shining. The building nearby, once a waterway, houses now a gallery of modern art, the Praha Museum. Praha is the part which you see. The tall trees behind the long wall adjoining its Vltava Museum. It is an artificially created island on the Vltava, lesser town. It is separated from the left bank by Chekhov, the Devil's Street, a man-made mill race that starts at the next bridge, at the beginning of which you will see after passing back the Charles Bridge. But up behind it, you can pass through a narrow canal, also called Little Venice, on a small footbridge, and you would see the only and the last preserved mill there with a moving wheel. Nearby, there is John Lennon's wall with the imaginary grave of the famous Peter. The biggest of the buildings in Praha, with the windows looking towards the river, is Liechtenstein Palace, a hotel accommodating only VIPs, mostly official political guests of Prague and the Czech Republic. The hill rising over lesser town and nearby Prague Castle is called Vltava. The name is derived from Latin petrus, rock or stone. It's a spacious public park with an old observatory. Funicular can bring you from the train stop Uyezd to the Vltava Tower. On the opposite side of the dam, more distant and situated at the next bridge on the right bank with a golden crown on the roof is the National Theatre, one of the three opera houses in Prague. The group of buildings at the Old Town Bridge Tower, also on the right bank but on this side of the dam, served as water-powered mills in the Old Town as recently as the end of the 19th century. Coming closer, you would see water streaming under the houses. In the most impressive one of them, on the corner, closer to you, there is now a museum of the Czech composer Bedřich Smetana. His statue is situated outside the museum. The wooden trunks and the pillars of the Charles Bridge, as said before, function as icebreakers. In fact, during the last decades, the river has frozen very rarely, but nearby there is a smaller and shallower river called Beronka, which flows into the Vltava River. This river often freezes during winter, and in early spring, when it melts, the ice floes are brought to Prague by the waters of the Vltava.
Second west. They didn't work.
The two-story building with mansard roofs is the Vltava, a former brick factory which dates back to 1781. During more than 200 years of its existence,
in the old
it has
town.
suffered often from flooding and fires. After the last repairs completed in 2006, the Vltava has been used as a fine dining restaurant, a shopping gallery with artistic goods, and now also houses the Franz Kafka Museum.
Yeah, we'll have to go. I really want to see well, we can do that. Yeah, who do we say to? The hotel? It's not, yeah, we need, it's not a his fault. We never saw it. He's a thought. I think he knew that. Do you know, I found this thing on the floor and I picked it up. I put it on the side. Took it off my website. So you know where it is? I know it is. Oh, what's that? Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
hard-to-miss, beautiful building on the right bank of the river is called the Vltava. It is one of the most important structures in Prague, built in century. The concert hall dates back to 1876 and was designed by the same architect who constructed the National Theatre, Josef Zittel. Later called the House of Artists, it served as a music hall and exhibition premises for the fine arts. After the foundation of an independent Czechoslovakia, the Rudolfinum, for a decade, became the seat of our democratic parliament. Now it's home to Czech Philharmonic and the Rudolfinum Gallery. Each May, the music festival Prague Spring takes place here. This section of the city is also known for the concentration of schools found here. Faculty of Arts of the Charles University and the Faculty of Nuclear Sciences of the Czech Technical University, the Prague Conservatory, the High School for Medical Nurses, the Academy of Fine Arts, and at the Iron Chekhov Bridge, the Faculty of Law. The majestic neo-Baroque palace on the left bank is called Straka's Academy, or Strakova Akademie in Czech. After its completion in 1896, it served as a student residence for the sons of poor Czech aristocratic families. During more than 100 years of its existence, it changed its function many times, including being the seat of government for the German Protectorate from 1939 until 1945. After the Second World War, Straka Academy became the official seat of the government of the former Czechoslovakia, and now houses the government of the Czech Republic.
Jane's going to do that.
the right bank, you can see Naframtishku Hospital, which Ferdinand II bequeathed to the Brethren of Mercy in the 17th century. It was the first hospital on the European continent to perform a surgery using general anesthetic. The new wing of the Naframtishku Hospital, facing the river, was added to the old monastery in the first half of the 20th century. Such as the spa town of Vltava, Carlsbad, where you can feel the power of the medicinal springs. Praha, the silver town, and source of wealth in the Bohemian kingdom, with visits to the ossuary and St. Barbara's Church. Český Krumlov, a splendid Renaissance town with a grand castle, and Terezín, the site of the infamous concentration. For lovers of crystal, offer excursions to glass rooms. You can also buy cut glass. Twice a week, we travel to Dresden, 200 kilometers from Praha, known as the German Florence on the Elbe. Wish you many more wonderful experiences while